Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm Charlotte from Thackray Medical Museum, and in this video we're going to do some writing inspired by Lorina and her scrolls around the theme of mental illness. This video is intended primarily for people with experience of poor mental health, so I thank you for joining me. I feel like I'm among friends. I do want to say that the video is going to include spoken extracts from Lorina's scrolls, which you might find upsetting or disturbing. There are mentions of injury and suggestions of irrational and delusional thought, and I'll also be asking you to explore some of your own experiences of difficult emotions. So if you're not quite in the right headspace at the moment, there's a link in the description to an alternate video, which is more about well-being and where we get our strength from. If you're happy to join me, I've decided I'm going to be brave today, and I'm going to also do the exercises and share the things that I've written. So wish me luck. The museum at the moment is creating a new exhibition all about mental health, and we think it's really important to show as many people's experiences as we can, because what we want to do is help the public to understand what it means to live with mental illness. So at the end, if you feel like you can share what you've written, we'd love to see it, and we will be asking some people whether we can share some of their words in the exhibition that we're building. Let's have a closer look at Lorina's embroidery. She created this in the lunatic ward of the Great Yarmouth Workhouse, and you can see it's a patchwork of fabrics all stitched together. Some of these fabrics are very brightly coloured, some of them are more basic. There seems to be a mixture of expensive dress fabrics and then perhaps pieces of bedding. The threads are all different colours. The entire scroll is written in capital letters without any grammar. She made at least 4 of these scrolls, and remember that each one is around 8 feet long. This is the back of the piece. It's very tactile, you want to be able to hold it, but because it's old and it's delicate, we have to really minimise how much we let people handle it, so it rarely comes out of the collection, out of the stores. But we are hoping to display this as part of the exhibition when we reopen. Some of the things that Lorina writes convey very strong emotions, feelings like disgust and fear and anger. For example, in one place she writes,
"Showwoman, collector of objects and making and altering shapes, the skeletons inside completely eaten away. A lingering consumption. Mrs. Nursey Flixon died this morning, January 5th, and taken to the mortuary shed. The rats are sent in to nibble, then some part of the corpse is cut off and cooked for someone to eat."
Whether or not the things that Lorina describes actually happened, they were real to her, and it's hard to imagine how that would have made her feel. So this brings us to exercise 1. You'll need something to write with, and I want you to think of a time, either now or in the past, where you've had an unwanted feeling or emotion. Can you give that unwanted feeling or emotion a name? And then once you've named it, I want you to use your imagination, take that feeling and let it solidify into something. Is it an object? Maybe it's a plant or an animal. And then I want you to describe that thing. Use all of your senses. What does it smell like? What does it sound like? Is it doing anything? You can pause this video, take as long as you like for this exercise, and then come back. Good work. If you want to take a break and come back later, that's fine. I did say I'd share what I wrote. Turns out I'm not brave enough to show you my face while I'm reading it though, so here's what I wrote. A sea anemone, delicate tendrils submitting to the sway of the waves. Translucent, legless, innocuous. Somehow you move too close again and you're trapped tight as a minnow, eyes closed, cringing, pulling it closer. The next aspect of Lorina's writing that we're going to look at is her anger and frustration. She wasn't free to leave the workhouse, so understandably she demonstrates isolation and frustration and anger. For people who are in social isolation at the moment, they might be feeling some of these same emotions. And then for some of us, these are very familiar feelings. Mental health problems can keep you trapped indoors just as firmly as if you were behind a locked door.
I, Miss Lorina Bulwer, was brought up in the Protestant faith to the full rights of the established by Act of Parliament Church of England. I should have taken £100 in my house. I have wasted 10 years in this damnation. Hellfire trap den of old women, old hags.
Lorina writes a whole embroidery in capital letters, so it reads as though she's shouting, like she's angry. Perhaps this is more surprising because we still expect this emotion more from men than from women. We don't expect women to be angry. Is there anything that you would like to shout at the world today? What injustices really boil your blood? Exercise 2, you're going to need a pen and paper and some music. So pick out a music that sounds angry to you, that you'd like to listen to for 3 minutes. And then we're going to write in capital letters with your pen and paper. It's free writing, so you're not going to pay attention to what you're writing. You'll focus on the music and just let your mind fall into neutral and let your pen do what it wants to do. The only rule is that you're going to stick with capital letters. If it helps, you can do some shapes and lines on the paper first, and then as you're listening to the music, see if you can write some words. See what comes out. Really well done. It doesn't matter what you came out with here. This is what I wrote. As you can see, it makes no sense whatsoever. But this is a really good exercise if you're trying to start to do some writing and you've got that blank page paralysis. It just gets some words flowing. This is exercise 3, our last exercise. There's one phrase that Lorina writes that I find particularly compelling.
I, Miss Lorina Ball, have nothing to do with French tricks. A crazy or lost in her mind, a troublesome woman.
That idea of being lost in your mind describes my anxiety really well. I manage it better nowadays, but for a long time I could be out at a party or at school, and wherever I was, only a fraction of me was really there in that moment. The largest part of me was lost inside my head, just focusing on worry and survival, and the real world felt like it was a really long way away. So for this exercise, we're going to imagine that you're inside your mind. So step inside your mind. What is the landscape? What can you see? What's the weather like? Can you hear any sounds? Just take a moment to look around and see what you can see. And then you notice a small window. You go and look through the window and you realise that you can see through there. You can see daily life going on. There are people that you know walking past. You can't speak and you can't let anybody know that you're in here. And I'm going to get you to write a message. I want you to write a message to somebody you know, telling them what it's like in here. Are you pleased to be here, or would you rather be out there with them? And what would you like that person to know about you? You've done really well. I'll read you a bit of what I've written, but I am going to hide behind this weird landscape. There is something hunting me. I hear it constantly, but never see it. I've been in here for months and months. I don't remember anything else. Strange how familiarity doesn't dull the horror. You'd have thought someone could get used to anywhere if they stayed long enough, but every day is made up of hours, and every hour is full of minutes, and every minute is an infinity of individual momentary hell. I wish I had anything left to give to you. I wish I knew how to be more than this. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for humouring me. We would really like to see some of the things that you've written. So in a moment I'll give you links to our Facebook and our Instagram and our Twitter, and if you'd be happy to share any of what you've written there, that would be fantastic. There's also a link to another video which follows on from this one, which will help you take some of the words you've written and turn them into a piece of textile art. You can find us at Thackray Museum on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and hopefully if you look there you'll see some writing that other people have shared as well. And if you click here, you can go to the next tutorial on how to create a piece of textile art based on the writing you've just done. Thanks for joining me. We look forward to seeing some of you in the museum when we reopen.